Hello, low ego action heroes. It's Debbie Levitt from deltacx.com, and a question I get sometimes is, if I'm just going to do some pro bono work or some practice work or some freelance work, or you know where I'm going with this, do I really need a contract? Can't I just agree to do some work for people? We send some emails back and forth and it all works out happily. Well, obviously, if you've been burned before, you know it doesn't work out happily. I am of the mindset that you should always have a contract and have proper paperwork. It doesn't have to be a contract that's unfair to either side, but it does have to be an agreement that it works for your state or region or country where you live, and it has to say some pretty core common things. This is the work that I'm doing. This is how much you pay me. This is when you pay me. This is what happens if you don't pay me. And this is what happens if we decide not to work together. Now, there's a lot more that should be in a contract. And for that, I'm going to point you to an earlier podcast. I think it was episode 15, where I talked about freelancing, contracting, and those types of agreements. I read through what's in my contract, because even though you can't necessarily use my contract because it's written for the state of Arizona, you should go to your lawyer and have something written with these things in it, because I've never been sued. I've rarely had fights with my customers because my contract is so clear and so clearly protects me. And that will help keep you out of legal trouble. It will help keep you from a fear of being sued or fear of being fought with. And those are scary things, absolutely. So make sure that you always have a contract, even if it is free work, even if it is a sample project, even if it's pro bono, even if it's freelance, even if it's contracting. You have to have appropriate paperwork, because many times, not always, but many times when you don't have paperwork, you magically somehow attract the person that wants to take advantage of you. The person who wants 9,000 changes a day and is calling you all hours of the weekend and seems to keep sneaking in more things into the project, and you think you'll just make them happy and you'll do a little bit more. No. You've got to stand up for yourself, and you've got to have a contract that lets you say to this person, you know, it's great that you want to add that, but that wasn't in our original contract. We only said we were going to do this, and now you're trying to add this, and I'm happy to do it, but just know that's going to cost another X dollars. So please write back to this email and let me know if you approve the additional cost, and we'll make it part of the project. I find 80% of the time they go, oh, never mind, I don't need that. And 20% of the time they go, cool, add it to the project, I'll pay for that. Now, either way, you've kept your power, you've kept your strength, you haven't been taken advantage of, you haven't been walked on. Sometimes when people tell me stories of being taken advantage of, I know it's not the most popular thing to say, and I mean in a business sense. It's a little bit of a two-way street. If you had that contract, and if you stood up when people started making these changes or creeping the scope, you know, we talk about scope creep, you've got to stand up to these things. Don't let them go. Don't do extra work thinking you're going to make them happy. What typically happens when you do extra work is you teach them you will do extra work and you're not going to charge extra. So just remember, you've got to protect yourself. The other party is not going to protect you, and they might even be hoping to take advantage of you in the business sense. So I hope that this helps, and I hope that you will hit that subscribe button and the bell. You can usability test it, just make sure it's working. And please empathize with the like button. Press like and let the YouTube algorithm know you enjoyed this and you'd like to see more like it, and that people like you should see fun stuff like this. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks again, and I'll see you in another video.